stop for a moment. If you're watching this, your life is about to change. You've been waiting for a sign, and this is it. In this video, we reveal why divine timing is aligning now, what spiritual breakthrough is approaching you, and how everything you've prayed for is finally catching up to you. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. Stay with us until the end, because what you're about to hear may unlock the next chapter of your destiny. Chosen one, there are moments in life when everything seems to come together in an instant. The years of struggle, the battles you've fought, the challenges you've endured, all of it has been building toward this very moment. Right now, you are entering a time where divine justice is being released on your behalf. Heaven has already moved on your behalf, and while you may not yet see the full manifestation of it in the natural realm, know that the spiritual world is already at work. God's justice is being released in perfect timing, and with it, a profound spiritual alignment is occurring in your life. The timing of this divine release is not random. It has been perfectly orchestrated by God. What you are about to experience is a turning point, a shift where the long delays, the setbacks, and the misunderstandings you've faced will finally make sense. Justice has been served, and God's hand has moved in ways that will not only bring balance and correction, but will re-establish the divine order in your life. This chapter is a reminder that God's justice does not always look dramatic or immediate in the natural world, but it is always precise, perfect, and timely. God is working things out in the spiritual realm, and soon, the evidence of his justice will manifest in the natural world. This is not just about the external circumstances shifting, it's about a spiritual awakening in you. When divine justice is released, it brings clarity, peace, and alignment to your spirit. The injustices you have endured, the wrongs that have been done to you, are being addressed by the divine. You may have wondered at times why certain things were allowed to happen or why certain situations took longer than expected to resolve. But God is assuring you that he has been working in the background, setting things right in ways that are beyond your understanding. Justice has been released, and now your heart can rest in the peace of knowing that God is in control. He is moving on your behalf, taking care of the situations and relationships that have caused you pain and confusion. This is the season where the divine order is being restored. The chaos, the confusion, and the battles that you have faced are being cleared away, and you are being positioned for the breakthrough you've been waiting for. But while justice is unfolding, it's essential for you to stay spiritually aligned. The key to receiving the full manifestation of God's justice is to remain aligned with his will. The process of spiritual alignment is crucial during this time. You are being called to align your heart, mind, and spirit with the divine purpose that God has set before you. As divine justice is being released, it's not just about seeing external changes, it's about an internal shift in how you see your circumstances, your relationships, and yourself. God is bringing you into a place of peace, where you can rest in the knowledge that he is working all things together for your good. Romans 8:28. As God releases divine justice, there is also a recalibration taking place within you. This is not just about physical deliverance from external struggles, but about aligning with the spiritual reality of what God is doing in your life. When God moves in your life, it's always to elevate you to a higher place of faith, clarity, and purpose. This season of divine justice will bring not only freedom from past hurts but also spiritual clarity and peace that will allow you to move forward with confidence and certainty. God's timing is perfect, and this moment of justice is no exception. You have been waiting for God to act, and while it may have felt like a delay, he has been preparing you, positioning you, and aligning you with the right opportunities and the right people. The breakthrough you are about to experience is not just the result of your own actions but of God's sovereign hand moving on your behalf. He has seen your faithfulness, your obedience, and your heartache, and he is now making a way where there was once no way. In this season, it is important to remain spiritually aligned with God's will. Alignment requires obedience, the kind of obedience that isn't just about following rules, but about aligning your heart with God's heart. It's about trusting him when you cannot see the end result, knowing that He is working things out in ways that are beyond your understanding. As God's justice is released in your life, make sure that your heart is open to receiving it. Sometimes, justice doesn't come in the way we expect, and we must be willing to receive it in the form that God has ordained. As you stay aligned with God's will, you will also be called to forgive and release any lingering bitterness or resentment. Justice isn't just about seeing things set right, it's about your heart being made whole. Forgiveness doesn't negate the wrong that was done to you, it releases the emotional burden that has weighed you down. In this season of divine justice, forgiveness is part of the healing process that allows you to fully walk in the freedom that God has for you. The release of anger and hurt opens up the space for God's peace and blessing to flow freely in your life. When God moves on your behalf, His justice also serves to restore balance. This means that the pain and brokenness you have experienced are now being addressed. God doesn't just bring about retribution, He brings about restoration. Everything that has been lost or stolen is now being returned to you in a way that is greater than you can imagine. Whether it's your relationships, your finances, or your personal peace, God is now bringing restoration into your life. This restoration isn't just about getting back what was lost. It's about receiving double for your trouble, a greater abundance than you ever expected. Chosen one, this is the time to stand firm in the knowledge that divine justice is unfolding. You don't need to fight for it, and you don't need to manipulate circumstances to make things happen. God's perfect timing and sovereign will are already at work. All you need to do is remain faithful, trust His process, and walk confidently in the path He has set before you. Chosen one, as you continue to experience the unfolding of divine justice in your life, it's crucial to understand that this moment of spiritual alignment is not just about external circumstances changing, it's about a shift in your heart and spirit that will empower you to walk boldly into the divine purpose God has set before you. God's justice is not just about restoring what was lost, it is about aligning you with the very purpose He has designed for you. This is the time where favor and freedom are flowing into your life, but you must remain spiritually aligned to receive the fullness of what God is doing. When God releases His divine justice, it often manifests quietly, behind the scenes, like the calm before a storm. It is important to remember that just because you don't see immediate results, doesn't mean God isn't at work. God's justice works silently, steadily, and with divine precision. The peace you feel deep within your spirit is confirmation that the justice you've been waiting for is already in motion. Heaven has already moved, and the divine order is being restored, even if it hasn't fully appeared in the physical world yet. This is where the spiritual alignment comes in. When God's justice is released, it is a call for you to align your heart, mind, and actions with His will. Alignment is key to fully receiving what God has prepared for you. God is calling you to submit your own desires, your plans, and your expectations to His will. True alignment with God means you trust His timing, His methods, and His plans, knowing that everything He does is for your good. Romans 8:28. Spiritual alignment is a deep inner realignment with the divine purpose God has set for your life. As divine justice unfolds, the old ways of thinking, the old fears, and the old self-doubt that have held you back will be washed away. This is a time to release the emotional and spiritual baggage that has weighed you down. You may have held on to past hurts, anger, or resentment, but God is calling you to let it go. Divine justice is about freedom, and that freedom starts within you. It is in this moment of alignment that you let go of any bitterness or unforgiveness, and you open yourself up to God's healing power. Only then can you fully receive the justice and restoration He is bringing into your life. Peace and rest come when you realize that God has already taken care of it. You no longer need to fight for your place, demand your rights, or defend yourself. The battle is no longer yours to fight. God has already stepped in. This is where the deep trust in His sovereignty and timing takes root. When you understand that God is handling it, you are free to rest. Rest in His promises, knowing that God's justice will prevail in every situation. The battles that have been raging in your mind, heart, and spirit are now over. and you can move forward in the peace that comes from knowing that God is reordering your life according to His perfect will. God's justice is also about restoration. As His justice is released, you are about to see a divine reversal of what has been taken from you. Restitution is coming to you, not just in the form of financial blessings, but in the restoration of your relationships, your emotional well-being, and your spiritual peace. The things that were lost or stolen, whether it's peace of mind, trust, opportunities, or broken relationships, are now being restored. What was delayed or denied is now coming into your life at the right time. Divine justice means that God will recompense you for every wrong, and His restoration will exceed anything that was taken from you. As the door opens, you will see the flow of blessings and opportunities that were once out of reach becoming available to you. But divine justice is also about healing of your spirit, your heart, and your soul. It's in this moment of alignment that you will feel peace settle in your heart like never before. The emotional weight you've been carrying will begin to lift as God pours His healing balm over your wounds. Justice doesn't just correct wrongs, it restores peace to the brokenhearted. You may have been in a season of emotional turmoil, confusion, or distress. But now, as divine justice is released, you are stepping into a time of restoration and healing that will bring deep peace to your heart. This peace is not just the absence of conflict, but a fullness of spiritual peace, a sense of wholeness and completeness in the presence of God. As divine justice is unfolding, there is also a spiritual elevation taking place within you. You are moving from a season of spiritual struggle to a season of spiritual empowerment. The challenges you faced were not meant to break you, they were meant to strengthen you, to prepare you for this moment of elevation. You are being raised up to a new level of spiritual authority, where you will walk in God's favor and lead with wisdom, courage, and humility. The alignment that is taking place will allow you to handle the authority that God is about to bestow upon you. With divine justice comes spiritual authority, and you will walk in it with grace and a heart of servanthood. Your alignment with God's plan is the key to unlocking the blessings and favor that are coming your way. Divine justice is being released, but you must align yourself to receive it. This means actively choosing to trust God's plan, to surrender your own will, and to wait on His timing. It's easy to become frustrated when things are not moving as quickly as you'd like. But remember that God's timing is perfect. Your breakthrough is near, and as you remain in alignment, you will find that the manifestation of God's justice will be swift and impactful. Now is the time to stay spiritually alert. Even though the process may seem slow or unseen, trust that behind the scenes, God is working in ways that are far beyond what you can comprehend. Divine justice is being released, and with it comes a time of divine acceleration. The blessings and opportunities that were once delayed or held back are now being drawn toward you. This is your moment of alignment with God's divine plan. And as you step into this new season, you will see everything that has been promised to you come to fruition. Chosen one, as you journey forward, you may feel the weight of burdens that others cannot see, the emotional and spiritual load that has been silently carried for so long. These burdens are often invisible to the world, hidden behind your strength, your resilience, and your faith. Yet, they weigh heavily on your heart and spirit. You may feel misunderstood or isolated, as if no one truly knows the weight you bear. In this chapter, we will explore the significance of these hidden burdens and the divine purpose behind them. They are not by accident. They are part of God's greater plan to strengthen you, to build your character, and to prepare you for the divine destiny He has in store for you. The weight you carry is not just physical, it is emotional and spiritual. Chosen ones often bear emotional burdens that others don't understand. Misunderstandings, judgments, the weight of high expectations, or the silent pressure to always be strong. These burdens can feel like an invisible weight that holds you back, that prevents you from moving forward with ease. But know this: these burdens are not meant to break you. They are part of your spiritual training, and God is using them to shape you into the person He is calling you to be. For many of you, the burden is unseen by others. You've become accustomed to carrying it in silence, not wanting to burden anyone else or show vulnerability. But this hidden weight does not go unnoticed by God. He sees every tear you've shed in secret, every moment of weariness you've endured without asking for help. These silent struggles are not overlooked. They are part of your refining process, and God is intimately aware of the emotional toll they have taken on you. Emotional burdens can be the result of many things: relationships that have left wounds, the weight of expectations placed on you by others, or even the guilt and shame you carry from past mistakes. Perhaps you felt judged or misunderstood, unable to share your true feelings with anyone, even those closest to you. You may feel as though you are walking this path alone, carrying the weight of your past and present in silence. But God is calling you to recognize that this weight is not meant to crush you. It is meant to prepare you for the greater things that lie ahead. Spiritual weight can also come from the responsibilities you carry as a chosen one. You may feel a deep sense of duty to others, to your family, or to your community. You may be the one who carries the emotional load for everyone around you, always putting others' needs before your own. This sense of responsibility can sometimes feel like a heavy burden that never seems to end. Yet, God is using this time of carrying the burden to build your spiritual resilience. The weight you bear is teaching you how to trust in His provision, how to rely on His strength, and how to stand firm when it feels as though everything is pushing against you. The emotional and spiritual weight you carry is refining you, molding you into a vessel that is strong enough to carry the blessings and responsibilities that God has planned for you. It is also important to recognize that the hidden burden you carry may be the result of past experiences that have left deep emotional scars. Some of you may carry the weight of rejection, betrayal, or disappointment from past relationships or situations. These emotional wounds have shaped the way you see the world and the way you approach others. They may cause you to second-guess your worth or question your ability to move forward. But God is here to remind you that your past does not define your future. The burden you have carried in silence is about to be released, and you are stepping into a season of healing and restoration. One of the most difficult parts of carrying these hidden burdens is the isolation that often accompanies them. It can feel as though no one truly understands the weight you bear. You may feel like you are standing alone, even in a crowd, unable to share your struggles with anyone else. This isolation is not a punishment. It is part of the refinement process. God uses this season of solitude to teach you to rely on Him fully, to grow in faith, and to find your strength in His presence. The weight you carry is not meant to keep you trapped. It is meant to bring you closer to God, where you will find the strength to release the burden and walk into your purpose with renewed power. As you reflect on the weight of the burdens you have carried, remember that you are not alone. God is with you every step of the way. He has seen your silent struggles and has been walking beside you, even when you felt invisible. God understands your pain, your exhaustion, and your emotional fatigue. He is near to the brokenhearted, Psalm 34-18, and He is present in the midst of your sorrow. The burden you carry will not last forever. God is releasing you from its weight, and in this season, He will give you the strength to stand tall and walk in the freedom that He has promised. You may have wondered why God has allowed you to carry such heavy burdens for so long. Why has He allowed you to experience the pain of rejection, misunderstanding, or emotional weight? But understand this: every burden you have carried has been a lesson. Each difficulty has been shaping you, preparing you for the future that God has designed. The weight you have borne has refined your heart, building in you a spirit of endurance, patience, and compassion. The trials you've faced have not been in vain. They are building character that will enable you to lead others with empathy, wisdom, and grace. The hidden burden you have carried is not a burden for you to carry alone. God is here to lift it from your shoulders. As you move forward in spiritual alignment, you will find that God's strength will replace your own. The weight you've carried for so long will begin to feel lighter, and the burden will be released. The freedom you've been waiting for is coming. You are stepping into a season where you will not only receive God's justice, but you will also receive His peace. The emotional weight will be lifted, and you will be restored to walk in the fullness of your calling and purpose. Chosen one, as you continue to move forward in this divine process, it is essential to understand that the weight of the burdens you have carried, though heavy and at times overwhelming, is preparing you for something greater. The hidden burdens you've borne in silence, the emotional weight, the unspoken struggles, the quiet suffering have not been in vain. God is using this time of internal pressure to refine you, to build strength and resilience that will allow you to walk boldly in the future He has designed for you. The burdens, the difficulties, and even the moments when you felt broken are all part of your refining process, a process that is taking you to a place of spiritual maturity and great purpose. You may have carried burdens for years without anyone knowing the extent of your pain. Perhaps you've been the strong one in your family, the one everyone looks to for support, yet no one has truly seen the weight you carry on your heart. This kind of hidden struggle often leaves us feeling alone and misunderstood. But I want to remind you today that God sees you. He sees the weight you've carried in silence, the sacrifices you've made, and the emotional wounds that have not been fully healed. You are not invisible to Him. You are being prepared for something far greater than you can imagine. And the burdens you've carried are a key part of that preparation. The weight of these burdens has often been heavy, and in moments of loneliness, you may have questioned why God allowed you to carry them for so long. You might have wondered if the burden would ever be lifted, if you would ever be free from the emotional weight that has kept you from fully embracing the freedom and purpose God has for you. But chosen one, God has heard your cries, and the time for release is now. What has been heavy will soon be lightened. What has been a burden will soon become the foundation for your next season of breakthrough. God is calling you to recognize that the burden you have carried is not meant to define you. It is not a reflection of your weakness, but a testimony of your strength and resilience. The fact that you have endured, that you have continued to walk in faith despite the emotional weight, speaks to the strength of your spirit. And it is this strength, this spiritual endurance, that is being refined in you, shaping you into the person you are meant to become. Now, as God prepares to release you from this burden, He is teaching you to let go of the emotional attachments that have kept you bound. Many of you have carried emotional weights for others' expectations, judgments, and responsibilities that were never meant to be yours. It's time to release these burdens and let go of the emotional attachments that have been draining your energy and focus. Forgiveness, both of others and yourself, is a key part of this release. The weight you've carried may have been tied to past hurts or mistakes, but you are no longer bound by them. God is freeing you from those emotional chains, and as you let go of what has held you back, you will begin to feel the freedom and peace that come from trusting Him completely. God's justice is being released into your life now. The injustice you've experienced, the pain, the misunderstandings, the silent suffering are being addressed by the divine. God sees every tear you've shed in secret, every moment of heartache you've endured without recognition. His justice is not just about correcting wrongs in the physical realm. It's about restoring your peace, dignity, and identity in the spirit. You may have felt overlooked or dismissed, but God is vindicating you. His justice is about to restore the emotional and spiritual balance that was lost during your trials. The burden of past wrongs is being lifted, and you will walk into a new season of freedom and blessing. As you release the emotional weight and trust in God's justice, your heart will be healed, and your spirit will be restored. You will be free to embrace the new opportunities that God is bringing your way. This release is not just about freedom from the past. It's about the empowerment to walk confidently into your future, knowing that God has equipped you with everything you need to fulfill your purpose. The spiritual alignment that is occurring in your life is aligning your heart, mind, and spirit with the abundant blessings that God is bringing to you. As you step into this new season, you will carry the weight of the crown that God is preparing for you, but you will do so with grace, humility, and peace. You may also feel a sense of emotional lightness during this time of release. As you let go of the emotional weight, you will find that you have more room to receive the blessings God has prepared for you. The emotional strain that has held you back will be replaced with the peace that comes from knowing that God is handling the situations that have caused you pain. You can rest knowing that His justice is being enacted, and that everything that was meant to harm you is being addressed by His power. This peace will allow you to move forward without the constant weight of fear, doubt, or anxiety. Chosen one, this is a season of divine restoration. Everything that has been taken from you, your joy, your peace, your opportunities, is being restored. God is making everything right, and as His justice flows into your life, you will find that things are being set in order. You are no longer responsible for carrying the weight of past injustices or emotional burdens. God is lifting the weight, and in doing so, He is positioning you for the breakthrough you've been waiting for. Your next steps are to embrace this new season of freedom, knowing that the weight of the past has been lifted. Walk forward with confidence, understanding that the burdens you've carried have been necessary for your growth and maturity. As you step into this new phase, remember that God is with you, and His perfect timing is at work in every area of your life. Trust that His justice is unfolding, and that you are walking in the abundant future He has planned for you. Chosen one, there are moments in our lives when the weight we've carried for so long finally begins to lift. For you, this is that moment, a season of release, a time when the burdens you've been carrying for so long are finally coming to an end. The emotional weight, the spiritual exhaustion, the heaviness that you have silently endured will soon be lifted. This is a season where God is releasing you from the burdens of the past, allowing you to step into the freedom and restoration He has promised. You may not yet see the full manifestation of this release, but know that the shift has already begun in the spiritual realm. For many of you, the burden you've carried has been a deep emotional weight. Perhaps it's the weight of past mistakes, broken relationships, unmet expectations, or personal disappointments. These burdens have weighed on your spirit, holding you back from stepping fully into your divine purpose. But now, chosen one, the time for release has come. God is intervening in your life, setting you free from the chains that have kept you bound. This is not just a temporary relief, this is divine restoration. The heaviness that you've carried is being removed, and you are about to experience a profound shift in your heart, mind, and spirit. The burden you have been carrying was never meant to break you. It was meant to prepare you to strengthen your spirit, to purify your heart, and to refine your character. God has been with you in the darkest times, and He has seen every tear, every moment of heartache, every challenge you have faced. But now is the time for freedom. You are no longer bound by the weight of the past. You are being released from the things that have held you down for far too long. This process of release is not just about letting go of emotional baggage or pain. It is about stepping into a new season of purpose and divine alignment. The burdens you've carried have been preparing you for this moment, and now that God is lifting them, you are aligning yourself with His will in ways that you never could before. The weight of the past no longer has the power to hinder you. The moment of release is upon you, and with it comes a new clarity and strength to step forward into the future God has planned for you. As God releases the burden from your life, there will be a shift in your spirit. The heaviness you've carried will be replaced by a sense of peace and freedom that only God can give. You will feel lighter, emotionally, spiritually, and even physically. The restoration that you've been waiting for is now taking root in your heart, and you will begin to see the manifestation of this release in your daily life. The weight that once felt unbearable is now being lifted, and you will be free to move forward without the hindrance of past pain or regret. It is important to note that the release of this burden is not a one-time event, it is a process. Just as God is removing what has held you back, He is also filling you with His peace, His joy, and His vision for the future. This season of release is about emptying yourself of what has been hindering your growth. so that you can be filled with the abundance and blessings God is about to pour into your life. The more you release, the more room you create for God to fill your heart with His perfect plan. In this time of release, there is also a spiritual shift that is taking place in your life. The struggles you have endured, the battles you have fought in the unseen realm, have equipped you for this moment of freedom. The spiritual weight you have carried has developed your faith and resilience. And now, you are being released to walk in the fullness of the authority and responsibility God has for you. This release is not just about getting rid of emotional baggage, it is about spiritual alignment. As the burdens are lifted, you are aligning with God's purpose for your life in ways that will propel you into greater favor and blessing. You may be asking yourself, what happens next? The answer is simple. You move forward. This is a time to step into the new season that God is opening up for you. The release of the burdens is not just for your benefit. It is part of God's plan to move you into a position where you can step fully into your calling. God is removing what has been weighing you down so that you can be ready for the future He is bringing to you. The obstacles, the heartache, the struggles, they have all been part of the process. But now the time for release has come, and with it comes a new beginning. As God lifts the burden, there is also healing taking place. The emotional weight you've carried for so long has affected not just your spirit but your mindset and your relationships. In this season of release, God is healing the emotional wounds that have hindered your ability to fully trust, love, and receive. The emotional scars of the past will not define you any longer. You will step into a new season where your heart is whole, your spirit is restored, and your mind is at peace. This time of release is not just about emotional healing. It is about spiritual renewal. As God removes the burden, He is renewing your spirit with fresh vision, fresh energy, and fresh purpose. What seemed impossible is now becoming possible. The dreams that were once held back by emotional or spiritual weight are now being revived, and you are stepping into a season where you can see clearly, move forward with confidence, and step into the divine opportunities that God has prepared for you. The time for freedom has arrived, and with it comes a fresh start. The old weight is being lifted, and you are now free to walk forward in the newness of life that God is offering. The chains of the past are being broken, and you are stepping into the fullness of what God has always intended for you. You are walking into a season of divine restoration, and as you do, God is aligning you with the opportunities, relationships, and blessings that will take you to new heights in your purpose. God is about to open doors for you that have been closed for far too long. As you step into this new season of release, expect the unexpected. Expect the blessings and opportunities that you've prayed for to suddenly appear. This is the time where God is going to show you that His perfect timing is always better than our own plans. The release is not just about freedom from the past, it's about stepping into the new opportunities, new relationships, and new favor that will launch you into the fullness of His divine purpose. Chosen one, as you step deeper into this season of release, it's crucial to recognize that freedom is not just the removal of the emotional burden you've carried, it's the divine invitation to step into something new. The weight you've been carrying, though heavy and often unseen by others, has shaped you and prepared you for this moment. Now that it's being lifted, there's a sense of lightness and freedom that will permeate every part of your life. It's not just the burden being taken off your shoulders, but a divine unlocking that is leading you toward your next level of purpose and destiny. As the weight of the past is lifted, you will find that clarity begins to emerge. The confusion, the doubt, the sense of being stuck or unclear, those feelings that clouded your vision and your decisions are now being replaced with divine clarity. With the release of the burden comes a new sense of understanding about your purpose, your relationships, and the journey ahead. This is God's way of clearing the path for you, so that you can see clearly where He's leading you next. The obstacles that once seemed insurmountable are now being removed, and you are stepping into a place where the vision for your future is sharpened and your path is illuminated. There's a deep spiritual significance in the release that's taking place right now. God is restoring what was once lost. And this restoration isn't just about your circumstances or possessions, it's about the restoration of your soul. The emotional burden you carried weighed on your spirit. But now, as you stand in this season of release, God is breathing new life into you. Restoration isn't just about returning what you've lost. It's about renewing your strength, your joy, and your peace. God is lifting you up and giving you the spiritual vitality to walk confidently in the blessings that are now being released into your life. In this moment of release, you are not just being freed from the emotional weight. You are being empowered to walk into the next phase of your calling. The blessings you have long awaited are now on their way, and as you step into this freedom, your heart is ready to receive them. God is not only taking away what was heavy, but is filling you with a sense of hope, expectancy, and faith for the future. The burden you've carried was part of the preparation for this very moment. You are spiritually equipped now to handle the responsibilities that are coming with your blessings, and you will walk in them with wisdom, grace, and confidence. One of the key aspects of this time of release is the healing that takes place in your heart. Many of the burdens you've carried were tied to unresolved pain, wounds from the past that you had to carry, either out of responsibility or because of unresolved emotions. As God lifts the burden, He is also healing those wounds. The hurt that once dictated your decisions and relationships will no longer have the same power over you. Forgiveness of others and of yourself becomes a central part of this release. God is inviting you to let go of the past completely, to forgive those who hurt you, and to release the weight of guilt or shame that has held you captive. Forgiveness doesn't mean what happened was right, but it means that you are free from its emotional grip on your life. This freedom is not a sign of weakness, but of divine strength. The ability to forgive and release shows that you are now mature enough to step into the fullness of God's purpose for you. As you forgive, you not only experience healing, but you also open the door for God's restoration to flood every area of your life. The freedom you experience is not just emotional, it is spiritual and physical. The spiritual weight you've been carrying is lifting, and in its place is a new strength, a new identity, and a new hope. Now, as the burden lifts and the emotional weight dissolves, you will feel a sense of peace that you haven't felt in a long time. This peace is a sign that God has reordered your life in this season. The storms you've faced have cleared away the confusion, and now you can rest in the peace that comes from knowing that God is in control. The path ahead is clear, and the blessings that are coming will be part of the new season God is ushering you into. This is a season of restoration, where God is not only releasing the old burdens, but is also birthing something new in your life. As you experience this release, there will be a shift in your relationships. God is clearing away the emotional clutter that has clouded your connections with others. The weight you carried may have caused tension, misunderstandings, or even distance in your relationships. But now, as the burden lifts, you will find that your relationships are being restored or redirected in a way that aligns with God's plan for you. Some relationships that were once a source of tension may become places of peace and reconciliation. Others may need to fall away so that you can make room for new, healthy connections that will support and uplift you in your next phase of life. The freedom that comes with release also brings new opportunities. The doors that were once closed will now open with ease. You will be presented with new paths, new roles, and new ventures that align with your divine purpose. These opportunities will come to you not by striving but by aligning with God's will. You are stepping into a season where things will flow more naturally. Opportunities, favor, and resources will come to you without the struggle you've previously known. As you move forward in this season of release, it is important to keep your heart humble and grateful. The release of the burden is not the end, but the beginning of a new journey. With the freedom you now feel, there is a great responsibility to use the blessings God is sending your way for His glory. You are not being released just for your own benefit, but to carry out the divine purpose God has placed on your life. This is a season of abundant growth. and you are now equipped to handle what is to come. The burden you've carried was never meant to define you. It was meant to prepare you. The release you are experiencing is a sign that you are entering a season of restoration, freedom, and purpose. God is moving in your life in powerful ways, and as you walk forward, you will step into the fullness of His plan for you. This is the time to receive, to let go of what no longer serves you, and to walk in the peace and freedom that God is providing. Chosen one, as you continue to walk in the divine alignment of your purpose, there is something profound and often misunderstood about the way God operates in your life. Divine justice is at work in your life, but it is not always the way the world expects it to be. The nature of divine justice is often quiet, subtle, and unseen at first, but that does not mean it is any less powerful. In fact, the quiet, deliberate manner in which God brings justice is a reflection of His sovereign will, His wisdom, and His perfect timing. This chapter is about understanding how divine justice works, how it unfolds quietly, and how it is ultimately for your good, your growth, and your spiritual alignment. Divine justice doesn't always come with loud declarations or dramatic shifts. The world may expect justice to be served in a way that brings immediate relief, public vindication, or swift correction. But God's justice is not designed to appease human expectations or satisfy our limited understanding of what is fair. Instead, divine justice works in silence, in subtle movements that gradually bring balance and order to situations that may have been long out of alignment. It is a quiet force, a still assurance that God sees all, knows all, and will, in His perfect time, make all things right. God's justice is precise and intentional. There is no need for Him to make an announcement every time He moves, because His actions are always timed perfectly and carried out with the greatest purpose. When God works in your life, it may not always look like a grand spectacle, but it is no less significant. In fact, it is often in the quiet moments that God's most profound acts of justice are taking place. His hand is guiding situations, opening doors, and moving hearts in ways that may seem hidden, but His purpose is being fulfilled nonetheless. As you look back over the struggles you faced, the injustices you've endured, and the pain that seemed to never end, you may begin to see the quiet unfolding of divine justice in your life. You may not have seen it immediately, but as God begins to open your eyes, you will realize that His justice was working all along, just beneath the surface, just out of sight. This is why it is so important to trust God's timing. While the world might move too quickly or demand immediate answers, God's justice unfolds at the perfect time, bringing balance, correction, and healing in ways that only He can orchestrate. Spiritual alignment is a key element in receiving divine justice. God's justice is not just about seeing the wrongs made right in your life. It is also about your own alignment with His will. Often, when we feel the weight of injustice, we may find ourselves focusing on the wrongdoer or the situation itself. But God's justice is always meant to bring us closer to Him, to align us with His purpose, and to reveal His will in a way that we may not fully understand in the moment. Sometimes, the most profound moments of divine justice occur within us. The shift in our hearts, the healing of our emotions, the forgiveness we extend to others, and the peace we find in knowing that God is in control. Divine justice is also about restoration. God does not merely correct wrongs, He restores what has been lost. When we experience injustice, whether in our relationships, our finances, or our personal well-being, it can feel as if something valuable has been stolen. But God's justice does not simply restore the surface issues, it works to restore us at a deep spiritual level. God's justice is meant to heal broken hearts, restore lost opportunities, and bring peace to weary souls. It is a complete restoration, where nothing is left undone, and everything that has been taken will be returned to you in God's time. In the quiet nature of divine justice, there is also a profound lesson in patience. We often want immediate answers, quick fixes, and visible signs of justice. But divine justice requires us to trust in God's sovereignty and timing. We must learn to wait, to be patient, and to trust that God is moving even when we cannot see His hand at work. Just as a seed grows in the dark soil before it breaks through the ground, so too is divine justice working in unseen ways before it fully manifests. God's justice is not bound by our sense of time. It operates in the realm of eternity, where His actions are always in perfect alignment with His greater plan. As you reflect on your own life, you may recognize areas where God's justice has already been at work, perhaps in ways you didn't fully understand at the time. Relationships restored, long-awaited opportunities, or a deep inner peace after years of struggle, all of these are signs of divine justice quietly unfolding in your life. God has seen every tear, every prayer, every moment of injustice, and He has already begun to move. Though the process may not always feel dramatic, trust that God's justice is unfolding at just the right time, and it will bring about the healing and restoration you need. One of the most significant aspects of divine justice is its ability to bring balance to situations. In a world that is often filled with chaos, confusion, and unfairness, God's justice brings order and peace. What has been out of balance, whether in your relationships, your work, or your personal life, will soon be restored to its rightful place. God is not only bringing peace to your heart, but He is bringing peace to every situation that has caused you anxiety, fear, or confusion. As you align yourself with God's will, you will see His justice bring calm and clarity to what once seemed impossible to resolve. The quiet nature of divine justice is not something to fear. It's something to embrace. It's an invitation to trust God's process, to trust His timing, and to rest in the peace that comes from knowing that He is working. Just as God's justice operates quietly behind the scenes, so too will your breakthrough come in God's perfect way. The quiet nature of divine justice is a reminder that even when we don't see the results immediately, God's work is always present, always moving, and always leading us toward wholeness and restoration. Chosen one. As you continue to embrace this season where divine justice is unfolding, it is important to understand the true nature of justice from a spiritual perspective. As we discussed earlier, divine justice often moves in a way that is quiet and unseen at first, but its impact is profound and transformative. In the silence of God's justice, there is a deep work of restoration happening. A work that is often unseen, but always purposeful and precise. Divine justice is not about dramatic shifts or grand gestures. It is about a restoring order and bringing peace in a way that aligns with God's perfect plan. You may not always see the changes immediately, but rest assured, divine justice is at work. God's justice is not motivated by revenge or anger, as we may see in the world around us. Rather, it is about bringing balance, healing, and restoration. Divine justice is a process that sets things right, but in a way that is rooted in compassion and mercy. It is designed not to punish, but to restore what was lost or taken. The key difference between human justice and divine justice is the underlying foundation of grace. While human justice may be swift and public, divine justice is patient, gradual, and patiently restorative. It is a process of healing, where both the person who has been wronged and the one who has done the wrong are given space to experience God's grace in profound ways. You may not always see the full picture of divine justice unfolding in real time, and that's okay. The quiet nature of this justice is often where God's perfect timing comes into play. He does not need to announce or justify His actions to the world. God's justice is beyond human understanding, and it's designed to work in a way that leads to true healing for both the affected and the wrongdoer. There is a deep wisdom in the timing of God's justice, which often requires patience and trust on your part. You may feel as though you've been waiting for the scales to be balanced in your favor, but in truth, God's justice is bringing healing to your heart, and you will soon see the physical manifestations of this restoration in your life. God's justice works silently, but powerfully. It's not always about immediate correction, but about bringing things into divine alignment. While human justice might rush to deliver consequences, divine justice moves with purposeful precision and grace. God's plan is so much greater than any immediate form of punishment or reward. His justice works in the spiritual realm first, shifting things in a way that will ripple outward into your physical reality. When God's justice touches your life, it doesn't just fix one thing. It brings complete restoration to everything that is out of order. What God's justice does is bring you into alignment with His will for your life. When you are spiritually aligned, you become ready to receive His promises and walk into your destiny without fear, guilt, or regret. This alignment will lead to clarity, peace, and confidence in every area of your life. The quiet nature of divine justice also means that you don't need to chase after or demand your rightful blessings. They will come to you in God's timing. God's justice brings peace to your spirit because you can rest in the assurance that He is fighting on your behalf, that He is making things right, and that nothing will be lost in the process. Now, in understanding the quiet nature of divine justice, you must also recognize that it is not always a public spectacle. Often, justice unfolds quietly, without fanfare. You might not see fireworks or immediate visible signs of change, but deep down, you will begin to feel the shift. It will begin in your heart as peace, confidence, and assurance that God is handling everything. You might not see the dramatic shifts at first, but you will feel God's hand upon your life, gently guiding you, providing for you, and restoring your sense of peace and purpose. This is the quiet work of justice, unseen but profoundly impactful. It is also vital to understand that divine justice is not only about setting wrongs right, but also about restoring your heart. When God releases justice, He doesn't just change the external circumstances, He also begins to work within you. He begins to heal the wounds that have been inflicted upon your soul. The long periods of waiting, the emotional pain, the disappointments, all of these things are being restored by God's justice. The spiritual alignment that follows will bring peace to your spirit, clarity to your mind, and healing to your heart. As you experience God's justice, you will find that the emotional burdens you've carried for so long will begin to lift. The hurt and frustration that seem to have no end will be replaced with a sense of restoration and healing. This is not just about receiving material blessings, but about stepping into a new identity and understanding of who you are in Christ. Divine justice is not just about external circumstances being corrected, but about shaping you spiritually for the purpose that is ahead. Your character is being refined, and the way you see yourself, your purpose, and your relationships is being transformed. God's justice is reshaping your mindset, aligning your thoughts with His truth, and equipping you to walk confidently into the destiny He has for you. As God's justice is released in your life, there will be moments of profound peace and clarity. You may experience a deep sense of rest, knowing that God is handling every situation that has caused you turmoil. The quiet nature of God's justice means that you will no longer need to strive for answers or results. You will rest in the knowledge that He has taken care of it. Trust in His timing and His wisdom, knowing that He is working things out in ways that you cannot see but will one day understand. As you continue on this journey, take this time of quiet, unseen justice to surrender your worries, doubts, and fears. Trust that God's hand is moving behind the scenes, working everything out according to His perfect plan. The divine order is being restored, and the blessings, healing, and peace that have been withheld from you will soon flood into your life. You will see the manifestation of God's justice in ways that will leave you in awe of His perfect timing and faithfulness. Chosen one, the moment you are stepping into is not just about the release of burdens, but also about the peace and freedom that will accompany the new season of your life. The emotional, spiritual, and physical weight that once seemed unbearable is now being lifted, and as it is, you are finding yourself standing in a place of peace and restoration. God has released you from the past, from the struggles, and from the burdens that once weighed heavily on your heart. This is the beginning of a new phase in your life, one where you are free to walk in your divine purpose with confidence and peace. As the justice of God unfolds in your life, peace begins to fill the vacuum left by the burdens and struggles. This peace is not just a fleeting emotion, it is a deep, spiritual peace that comes from knowing that God is in control. When God works, He doesn't just bring temporary relief. He brings lasting peace that stabilizes your soul. No longer will you feel anxious, unsettled, or overwhelmed by the trials of life. This peace is a restful assurance that the weight of your past is gone, and now you are stepping into the future that God has designed for you. The peace you are beginning to experience is God's gift to you. It is a sign that you are no longer fighting battles on your own. God is with you in every step of the journey, and He has brought you to this point of peace for a purpose. This peace is not just for your own well-being. It is meant to equip you to move forward into your new identity. You are being restored emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. The things that have once held you back, fear, anxiety, guilt, and past wounds, are being replaced with a new sense of clarity, strength, and purpose. One of the first things you will experience in this season of peace is the freedom from past emotional burdens. For so long, the weight of disappointment, heartache, and hurt has been carried in silence, often unnoticed by others. But God has seen every tear you've shed, every silent prayer you've prayed, and every moment of sorrow. God has vindicated you, and as He releases His justice into your life, He is also lifting the emotional burden that has held you captive for so long. The peace that follows is a profound sense of emotional freedom, the release of guilt, the removal of shame, and the healing of wounds that were too deep to heal on their own. Now that you are stepping into this new phase, you are being transformed. Your identity is no longer defined by the mistakes you've made, the pain you've endured, or the circumstances that once shaped you. You are now defined by your relationship with God, by His love for you, His calling on your life, and His promises for your future. This is the time where you are embracing your new identity in Christ. The person you were before the burdens, before the trials, before the heartache, while still a part of you, is now being refined, purified, and brought into alignment with the person God is calling you to be. Embracing your new identity is about understanding that your worth is not defined by the world's standards, but by God's love and purpose for you. The world may have labeled you with words like failure, rejected, or unworthy, but God calls you His chosen one, His beloved, and His heir. You are stepping into a new understanding of who you are in Christ. You are no longer carrying the labels of the past, but you are stepping into the freedom and authority that come with your new identity in Him. The peace you experience in this season is also a peace that passes understanding. You will notice a shift in how you approach life's challenges. No longer will you be overwhelmed by circumstances or knocked down by setbacks. The peace of God in your heart will allow you to approach trials with a steady and calm spirit. You will be able to respond to difficulties with patience, wisdom, and trust in God's plan. This peace is not dependent on external circumstances. It comes from knowing that God is in control of everything. His justice has already been released, and you are now in alignment with His perfect will for your life. As you step into your new identity, you will also experience a transformation in how you see your future. The uncertainty, the fear of the unknown, and the feeling of being stuck are being replaced with a vision of hope. The peace you are feeling will become the foundation of your confidence in the path ahead. God has released blessings, opportunities, and favor into your life, and you are now positioned to receive them. You no longer walk through life feeling weighed down by your past. You are walking with the confidence that your future is bright, that God's plan for you is good, and that He is guiding your every step. This season of peace is also a time to rest in God's provision. As you step into this new phase, you are no longer striving for what is already yours. Rest in the knowledge that God has already prepared the way for you. The things you've been fighting for, the goals you've been working toward, will now come with ease and divine favor. The weight of striving has been lifted, and you can now walk into your purpose with confidence, knowing that God has already gone ahead of you and made a way. His peace will guide you through every decision, every challenge, and every opportunity, allowing you to move forward without fear or hesitation. One of the most significant shifts you will experience in this new season is the release of anxiety. The worries about the future, the stress about what comes next, and the uncertainty of the unknown will begin to fade. As you walk in peace, you will find that God's faithfulness becomes your anchor. Your new identity is rooted in His promises. And the peace that comes with this identity will allow you to navigate life's ups and downs with a heart that trusts God completely. No longer will you feel overwhelmed by the unknown. You will face it with a heart at peace, knowing that God is with you and that He is leading you to something greater. In this season of peace and release, you are being equipped to walk into the fullness of the life God has designed for you. The crown you are destined to wear is not just about external success or achievement. It is about walking confidently in your divine purpose. Your new identity will allow you to carry this crown with humility, grace, and peace. You are being prepared to lead, to influence, and to make an impact on those around you, all while walking in the peace and confidence that God has instilled in your heart. As you embrace the release, the new identity, and the peace that is filling your spirit, know that you are entering a new season. This is the time where God's promises are being manifested in your life, where your purpose is becoming clear, and where the future He has designed for you is unfolding. You are not walking into this season alone. God's peace is your guide, and His favor is upon you. Chosen one, as you continue stepping into the peace and new identity that God is unfolding in your life, it is essential to recognize that this transformation is not just a change in your circumstances, it is a spiritual metamorphosis. God is not simply bringing peace to your heart, He is restoring and transforming you into the person He has always intended for you to be. The peace you feel is not just a fleeting moment, it is a lasting foundation that will allow you to live your life with clarity, confidence, and purpose. This peace that you are experiencing is not based on external conditions, it's rooted in God's presence and His promises for your life. As you walk in this new identity, you will find that the external pressures, the demands of others, and the concerns of the world no longer have the same hold on you. You are now operating from a place of inner security that comes from knowing that your worth is found in God, and that your purpose is rooted in His divine plan. Peace is not just the absence of conflict, it is the presence of God's rest in your spirit. It is the assurance that no matter what happens in your life, you are held by God's love, and that His sovereignty governs everything around you. This peace is a spiritual anchor that keeps you grounded, regardless of the external chaos. It allows you to move through life's challenges with grace and composure, knowing that your strength comes from the Lord and not from your own abilities. As you embrace this peace and step into your new identity, you are also embracing freedom. Freedom from the emotional burdens of the past, freedom from the fear of failure, and freedom from the need for external validation. You no longer need to seek approval from others or prove your worth through your achievements. Your identity is secure in Christ, and that gives you the confidence to live authentically and with purpose. This new identity is not just about who you are today. It is about who you are becoming in Christ. It is about aligning yourself with the divine calling God has placed on your life and stepping into the fullness of that calling with boldness and faith. The person you were before the burdens weighed you down, before the struggles held you back, is now being transformed into the person God has always seen in you. You are not defined by your past failures, your mistakes, or the people who have misunderstood you. You are defined by God's love and purpose for your life. The peace you are embracing will give you the courage to step into this new identity with confidence. You will no longer be ruled by fear or self-doubt, but by the truth of who you are in Christ. The lies that once held you captive, the lies about your worth, your calling, and your ability are now being replaced by God's truth. You are chosen, loved, and equipped for the purpose He has set before you. Your identity in Christ is unshakable, and as you embrace this truth, you will walk into the fullness of the life He has designed for you. This new identity is also a calling to embrace your purpose with boldness. No longer will you be held back by fear or the desire to live up to others' expectations. You are free to walk in your unique calling and to do the work that God has set before you with confidence. The peace that fills your heart enables you to take bold steps in faith, knowing that God has already gone ahead of you and prepared the way. You will find that doors begin to open effortlessly. Opportunities that once seemed far out of reach will suddenly come to you, and relationships will be restored and strengthened. As you embrace this new identity, you will also begin to walk in a new level of authority. The peace you experience allows you to speak with confidence and lead with grace. No longer will you shrink back from challenges or shy away from leadership roles. You have been empowered by God to walk into your calling with boldness, and this peace becomes your foundation for action. God's peace will not only keep you grounded but will empower you to move forward with clarity and purpose, knowing that you are exactly where God wants you to be. The shift you are experiencing goes beyond just your emotional and spiritual state. It is about the transformation in your outward actions as well. The peace and clarity that God is bringing to your spirit will influence the way you make decisions, the way you handle challenges, and the way you relate to others. People will begin to see the peace you carry in your life, and it will draw them to you. The new identity you are embracing will shine brightly, serving as a testimony of God's work in your life. You will be a living example of the transformation that comes from surrendering to God's plan and trusting His timing. In this new season, God is not only changing your internal world, but He is also shifting the circumstances around you. The external manifestations of His justice, His provision, and His favor will soon follow. As you embrace your new identity and trust in God's perfect plan, you will begin to see the fruit of your faithfulness. The breakthroughs you've been waiting for will start to appear, and the blessings you have prayed for will be released. This is a time of alignment, a time where you are walking in step with God's divine will for your life, and as you do, you will experience divine favor in ways you never imagined. There is a quiet strength that comes with embracing your new identity in Christ. It's a strength that doesn't rely on external validation or approval, but on God's truth and peace. You are learning to stand firm in the truth of who you are in Christ, and as you do, you will be able to handle any challenge or obstacle that comes your way with grace and courage. The identity you are stepping into is not fragile or dependent on the opinions of others. It is a strong identity, rooted in God's love, power, and purpose. Chosen one, the peace and new identity you are embracing will be a lifelong foundation. This is the time where God is aligning you spiritually, emotionally, and mentally for everything that is to come. You will no longer be defined by your past struggles or your external circumstances. You will be defined by God's love, purpose, and peace. If you're still here, that's confirmation. Thank you for walking this divine path with us today. If this message awakens something within you, help us spread it, like, share, and subscribe. Comment below if you're ready to receive what's next for your life. Your breakthrough is closer than you think, and this journey is just beginning. Stay aligned, stay faith-filled, and prepare for what's coming. We'll see you in the next video.